The Russian army is making efforts to completely capture the Donetsk region. In October, the enemy actively used heavy armored vehicles, and Donbas remains a priority for the occupiers. Oleksandr Musienko, a serviceman with the troops of the armed forces of Ukraine, spoke about this on Channel 24, noting that the Russians have made minor tactical advances, which Ukrainian defenders are successfully blocking. The Dobropillia operation began quite ambitiously for the Russian occupiers. The enemy planned to achieve a breakthrough and achieve operational success, not just a tactical one, which, although they did achieve, later turned into a trap. Musienko explained. According to him, the enemy was attempting to break through to the rear of the Ukrainian group in order to create problems in certain areas of the front and demonstrate their success on the battlefield. Now, as the soldier noted, the Dobropillia sector has become a trap for the Russians. He's now deploying significant forces trying to unblock a group that's logistically cut off from its main forces and assets. As a result, he's constantly bringing in reserves, and we're destroying them in large numbers. The Russians are trapped, Musienko emphasized. The military added that the occupiers are forced to expend significant resources, not on exploiting operational success, but on attempts to free their own troops, who are semi-encircled with their logistics disrupted. As for Donetsk Oblast in general, it's clear that this area will continue to be a priority for the enemy. It will be a focus of particular attention and interest, because the Russian army hasn't abandoned its plans to finally seize the Donetsk Oblast. Active combat operations will continue there, Musienko noted. He concluded that the Ukrainian defense forces are actively defending themselves and, when possible, counter-attacking to push back the enemy and liberate Ukrainian territories. As reported, Commander-in-Chief of the Ukrainian Armed Forces, Oleksandr Musienko, emphasized that current combat realities have significantly changed conditions on the battlefield. The death zone on the front line currently extends to 10 kilometers and directly impacts the safety of Ukrainian troops. According to Musienko, attack drones are becoming a key factor determining the situation on the battlefield. They complicate the rapid evacuation of the wounded, making efficient logistics and the ability of military medicine to quickly respond to threats particularly important. We must view the war through the lens of the needs of the Ukrainian infantryman and protect his life and health. I emphasized this during the monthly working meeting on medical support for the Ukrainian armed forces, the Commander-in-Chief noted, emphasizing the priority of preserving soldiers' lives in the new combat conditions.
Russian drones smashed into the Shostka train station in northeastern Ukraine earlier this month. They killed a 71-year-old man, injured at least 8 people and left train cars buckled by fire and riddled with shrapnel holes. It was one of the latest examples of what Ukrainian officials say has been a surge since midsummer in attacks on railways. Ukraine's rail network is a critical lifeline for commercial freight, passenger traffic and military logistics. The increasing attacks are part of Russia's broader targeting of infrastructure that now is being carried out with greater precision thanks to advances in long-range drone technology that include onboard video feed. Shostka train station was hit with a double-tap strike, one explosive-laden drone followed immediately by another, to maximize damage and casualties, rail operator CEO Oleksandr Musienko told the Associated Press. Russian forces, he said, had stepped up those tactics over the past 3 months. The rail operator told Associated Press that nearly 270 strikes had occurred since August. A review of public announcements by rail and regional authorities regarding train system attacks since January 1 found nearly half occurred after midsummer. Since the start of Russia's full-scale invasion in early 2022, railway officials publicly reported about roughly 1 attack on railways per week. But since midsummer of this year, that rate more than doubled to about 2 or 3 per week, according to an Associated Press review of public reports. However, What is publicly reported is only a small fraction of the overall number of attacks on all rail-related infrastructure, which could include damage to power lines, electrical substation, rail tracks, train stations and other structures. Ukraine's rail network carries more than 63% of the country's freight and 37% of passenger traffic, according to the State Statistics Service. It is also essential for moving grain and metal industry exports to seaports and borders, and for transporting military aid from allied nations. Trains continue to run despite repeated strikes, but freight volumes carried by rail from January through August 2025 dropped 11.7% year-over-year, while passenger traffic declined by 4.2%, according to the State Statistics Service. Ukrainian officials and military analysts warn that advances in Russian drone capabilities and the growing tempo of attacks pose a more serious threat. Experts who studied intercepted Russian drones believe that since the summer, Russian forces added an upgrade. Cameras and radio modems devices that send and receive data wirelessly have been fitted to various types of long-range strike drones.
Починаючи з серпня, справді, ворог ще більше почав лупити по залізничній інфраструктурі. Насправді не припинялося, не було жодного тижня з лютого 22-го року, коли не було ударів по залізниці, але зараз, очевидно, є інтенсифікація. Ми бачимо не тільки в кількості шахедів, але й в точності. От луплять безпосередньо по локомотивах, чітко бачачи, що це пасажирський склад поїзду, що це пасажири, вагони, приміський поїзд, поїзд далекого сполучення. Жодних тут немає якихось військових ешелонів. Все це те, що в російських телеграм-каналах розганялося, можна піти подивитися. Це суто там пасажирський поїзд, якісь технічні вагони, нічого тут немає такого, щоб якось впливало на військову логістику.
Так, я навіть і не пойму, як...
Немає сьогодні практично ночі, коли б ми не прокидалися від того, що десь уражена підстанція, десь уражена ключова якась вузлова станція, десь уражений рухомий склад. І мета є зупинити залізницю, відтак для нас є аналогічно мета не дати ворогу залізничним рейсам бути скасованими. Ми, по суті, взяли це за мантру, що за будь-яких умов, якою б не було складної ситуації, ми не скасовуємо рейси. Якщо є затримка, ми, відповідно, знаходимо якісь альтернативні шляхи. Там, де влучають по енергетичній інфраструктурі, не працює електрика, переходимо на резервне дизельне живлення. Так, це нам може складніше, дорожче, але ми продовжуємо рух.